Giselle. I'm from LOLGESELLE on YouTube, and all of you guys have been asking for an echo video, and guess what? I don't do echo. So what I did for y'all is get Taylor on here. She is a new grad echo tech, and she's going to be talking all things echo for you guys. So thank you so much, Taylor, for coming on here and talking with me.
Of course. I'm so excited.
So happy that you're here. You guys, Taylor is a part of our Discord community, and she literally helps everyone with all the echo questions that they have in there. She's a rock star. Literally, she just graduated, so she was, going through everything that you guys are going through right now. So she has a lot of information for you, and me too. I'm going to learn so much from you today. So thank you again for being here. And yeah, I'm going to just hand you the floor and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Taylor. I'm originally from a small town in South Georgia called Hazelhurst. Lived there my whole life, and then I moved to Statesboro, which is where I went to school. That was my third time being in school, so third time is the charm. First time I went to college, I went for cosmetology, done it for like a year and a half, and then got kind of bored with it. Second time I went for business management, done a semester of that, and I was like, this is kind of like too easy. Like, I'm not feeling a challenge. Like, I need more from it, you know? One day I just decided, hey, I moved to Statesboro spontaneously. I moved without a job, so I was just bored, so I just moved. So decided to just see what programs Ogeechee Tech offers. So shout out to Ogeechee Tech in Statesboro. So originally I had signed up to do the regular DMS program, general and everything like that. So I went to an information session where both the DMS instructor and the echo instructor were talking about each program. And that is where I decided to do echo. I was like, that is so cool. I didn't even know echo was a thing. Like, you don't even think about just everything you can do with sonography. I mean, it's just like such a broad spectrum of things. I remember I took my letter of interest to my instructor, Miss Mitchell, and I had to chase her down in the hallway. And I was like, hey, I have this letter of interest for you. Take me, please. And she was so serious, and she looked at me and she was like, is this really something you want to do? Because I don't want to take this paper from you if you don't want it. And I was like, no, please take the paper. Like, I want to do echo. I mean, yeah, it was a wild ride from there. So our program is fall, spring, summer, and the fall. So our classes started in August. For the entire first semester, you don't do clinic with echo there. So it's just straight book work and lab tests. Whereas a regular DMS, they start going to clinic pretty much immediately. But we didn't go because there's just so much to learn. I understand DMS has literally the entire body to learn, but there's like so much to learn about the heart. We had to make sure we had a clear understanding of like what we were even looking at on the screen. Started with 10 girls. We had a student quit like a month into the program. She just decided it wasn't for her. And that, I think, is probably like the biggest thing with like ultrasound or anything medical in general. If your heart's not in it, you're not going to enjoy it. Yeah. So like you really have to get up every day looking forward to going to work. First semester was a doozy for me. I expected for it to be hard, but like, I mean, it was just like a whirlwind of stuff. Like, I had never been in a program where I had to study so much. I didn't know how to study. I feel like that was my like biggest thing first semester, was figuring out how I needed to study, because rewriting the notes did not help me at all. Watching videos kind of helped me, but I didn't really learn that until like the end of it. But it took me like a long time to learn how to study. So I like barely came through that first semester. It was so hard. And there were so many times I wanted to quit. Like, it was just really hard. First semester, we lost 4 of our students. So then we came into the second semester. So there were 5 of us left. And we called ourselves the Maroon 5 because our scrub colors were maroon.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, they changed it from gray. It used to be gray, but then Miss Mitchell was like, no, we need to stand out from the DMS program. So we became the Maroon 5.
Oh, that's cute.
Yes, I loved it. Second semester, which was our first semester at clinicals, and then COVID happened. We were in clinic for like maybe 7 weeks roughly, and then we got kicked out because of COVID.
Wow.
It was pretty much learning everything online. And I mean, I'm sure you know how hard it is to just learn everything online. You don't get like hands-on experience, and we're literally still learning how to scan.
Yeah.
For like 2 straight months of just Zoom calls with our teacher, and that's when we were starting to learn about pathology, and that's the biggest thing of it. So it was hard. Like, I mean, I guess it helped a little bit because, I could keep my notes right there with me whenever I was like learning stuff. But yeah, COVID happened. We got kicked out of clinic. That semester was probably the hardest for me. I already didn't know how I was doing best studying, right? So then doing everything online, I didn't like it. I just felt like I wasn't going to get much from it. And when COVID hit, my grandpa actually passed away from COVID.
Oh,
so there were times, thank you. There were times that I wanted to quit the program then because I just had so much coming at me. And then a month later, one of my aunts passed away. So COVID, my grandpa, and then my aunt. So there were times I literally did not want to continue in the program. And the only reason I got through the program was because of my classmates. So like you really form a bond with your classmates. So yeah, I mean, we eventually made it through. Clinicals I got to experience more clinical sites because of COVID. So like whenever hospitals started opening back up more for students, it was a limited amount. So we were having to share a clinic site, which was kind of weird because you had to take turns scanning patients, like you're having your classmate there with you. And then it makes it like a little nerve-wracking because you're like, oh my gosh, what if my classmate thinks I'm doing something wrong? They're not going to want to, tell me. So it just kind of made it kind of awkward. So my last clinic site, I was there the longest. So I was there for like 7 months, I think. And those are who ended up hiring me like as soon as I passed my registry.
Wow.
Yes. So shout out to St. Joseph's Candler in Savannah. They were the best. I mean, my class really went through a lot. We lost, like 5 of our students. We actually, all of us passed the SPI on the first attempt, even through COVID and not being in school. And then all of us passed the echo registry on the first attempt. So
you guys go, the Maroon.
We came out on top.
You guys are hard workers. I mean, I can't imagine going through all of what you did, and then on top of that, the COVID and everything like that. So that just shows, take out COVID, like everything is so hard already, and then on top of that, you had all these things like in your way, but you guys were able to conquer it and you all passed. Like, that's so good. Is it a 2-year program? Is that what you did?
4 semesters for the actual program. That's not, counting the prereqs or anything like that. But yep. So, and then you come out with an associate's degree.
When did you take your echo registry?
So whenever you're like in an accredited school, you're able to take it before you actually graduate. So I graduated November 18th, a day before my birthday. So I took it, I think it was the first week in November. Yeah, so I think I was the second person in class to take it. So I took it a couple weeks before I graduated.
So you had already taken SPI?
Yes, thank goodness. I took that back in April. Listen, I was nervous to take the SPI. Me and physics did not get along at all.
Same. 4 years later, I still am like, physics what?
Yeah. Someone asked me the physics question. I'm just like, I already passed that registry. Don't ask me anything else.
I mean, but that says a lot. You study so hard for the SPI, and then, you're doing the physics on the daily, but you don't really think about it.
Yes. Like, I mean, it comes natural whenever you're thinking about all the buttons and stuff on the machine to make the image quality so much better. You're thinking about, dynamic range. You're just like, yep, let me twist this a little bit. Like, yep.
So, I mean, that's really good to hear. I mean, students, sometimes they think you need to know physics for the rest of your life. I love that, even though you went through all that stuff, you studied so hard, you passed the SPI, you passed your echo board exam, and now look at you, newly grad
in Alaska.
So tell everybody why you're in Alaska. Obviously, we all know in Discord why you're in Alaska. Come on now, you're not from Alaska, so what's going on there?
All right, so funny story. Whenever I first started the echo program, my instructor would always ask us, hey, where do y'all want to go whenever you graduate? Because literally you can go anywhere. There are jobs everywhere in the medical field, echo in, general, whatever specialty you want. I always told her, do not send me anywhere cold. And that is what I told her every time she asked. Now look at me. So what happened was, this was not my plan at all. But it's kind of like a sick joke is what I tell everybody.
Oh,
The Lord brought me a military man.
oh,
And he was like, hey, I'm having to PCS to Alaska. And I was like, you know, I could get a job there, but like it's cold. But like
cool.
I just jumped on a plane and here I am, and I'm actually here before him. So that's kind of whack. I got to fly here, but he's currently making the drive from Georgia. I think he's like in Canada right now. He still has a couple more days of driving. So here I am in Alaska. It is so much different than Georgia because Georgia, I'm not used to snow.
Yeah.
And I woke up this morning and it was 1 degree outside.
Oh my gosh, I'm so cold just thinking about it.
It's so weird because like everybody has always told me that like it's a different kind of cold because when it's like 50 degrees in South Georgia, you're freezing because of like the humidity and just everything like that. Whereas here, like I was going around town last week when it was like 20 degrees and I really didn't feel cold. Don't get me wrong, if I stepped outside right now, it's cold outside right now. But
yeah, no.
But yeah, it's wild.
Wow. Okay. So when you knew you were going to Alaska, did you apply for jobs before you left? Did you apply when you got there? Like, how did that whole situation go?
Yeah. So I, like, as soon as I knew that we were coming to Alaska, I knew probably like September, October, roughly around there is whenever I knew. So I went ahead and started applying. And on my resumes, I would put soon to be graduate, and I gave my like graduation date.
Oh.
And then I put whenever I was, so before I put like sitting for registry on such and such dates. That way they knew like I had it planned already, like I was taking my registry and everything. I don't know if it's just because it was a different state and maybe the jobs didn't think that I was actually going to go from Georgia to Alaska. So it was really hard finding a job. Initially, I would call people, they wouldn't return phone calls, or my teacher even reached out to a hospital here and they told her it would be really hard for me to find a job here because in the entire state of Alaska, there may be like 30 echo techs. So yeah, he was like, if you're not from here, it's going to be really hard finding a job. So thankfully I found one. I had accepted a job from a hospital, but it was just a PRN and it was going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. And that's just not
what you want.
Ideal, you know, especially like whenever I literally just got married a month ago. And so since he's in the Army, weekends are primarily his off days. So I didn't want it to be like I'm at home whenever he's at work and vice versa, you know. So, but yeah, I just accepted a job. It's a full-time job, so it's my actual first full-time job since graduating. So yay. Because my other job that I had in Georgia was PRN. So, I mean, I was working a lot, but still, first-time job in a new place. So I'm super grateful.
Yay. So you haven't worked yet, or have you worked yet?
Yes. So, well, not at this new job.
You've worked at the place. Right?
Yeah. Yep. So I actually start the new place on Monday. So I'll do training for 2 weeks at the main hospital, and then my job is actually going to be like, it's an office kind of like under the hospital. It's just in the town like 30 minutes away, but it's only like a Monday through Friday type of thing. So this schedule is way better.
Sure, you get holidays off.
Yes.
Cool.
Super
That's
excited about that.
Awesome. So that's really good. I'm so thankful that you're here to share your story with everyone. Everyone's journey is different, but I mean, look at you. You were like not medical at all before any of this.
No. I was AT&T. So I had worked at AT&T for the past 5 years selling phones. And I got so tired of that. And it just gets so tiring of people just coming in, asking phone questions or yelling at you about their phone bill being high. And I'm just like, yep, I can't do this for the rest of my life.
And now you're doing echo. So that's really cool. So the one thing that everyone's really interested in y'all's job is like, what do you do on the daily? What is it?
So, I mean, I feel like I'm just pretty used to it. So to me, it doesn't seem like a lot, but I know like as a student, if you're not in the field, you don't know what all you do. starts out as like a pretty chill day. You go in, see what is all on the list to do, like if there's appointments or whatever. You can look up their previous studies if they have one and just kind of see what the previous diagnosis was. Bring the patient in, do the exam. You'll kind of just ask them like their history and everything. So I haven't worked too much. Well, I haven't worked at all here, but I know at my previous job we done like stress tests and everything like that, and that was actually a hospital setting. So I would go and do inpatients and everything. So I mean, outpatients, you do inpatients in the hospital, you do TEs with the actual cardiologist. So as soon as you usually get done doing an echo, you go back and do the report. It just, break down everything in the heart to see what's going on with it. But I mean, it's pretty much that all day. It really doesn't seem like a lot, but
it's a lot. We know it's a lot.
An echo is a lot. I mean, you're talking like an echo is like 70 images roughly or more.
Yeah, more.
So like it's a lot.
So with all of that being said, is this like do you think it's the best decision that you made for yourself? Like, do you feel like echo was the way you really decided? Because a lot of people are like, oh, echo or general? Like, what do I do?
100%. I love echo just because not every patient is the same. Not every heart is the same. I mean, it's kind of weird to think about. You think everyone's hearts would be like in the same position. Yeah. It's not. I mean, there are just so many like obstacles like you have to go through. You don't go into the patient's room and just throw the probe on them and like, oh, there's the heart, and then twist it a couple of different ways and take more images. Like there's so much to do for an echo. And then if you can't see the heart very well, you have to do like a contrast exam. So the nurse has to have like the IV in them, and then you just push contrast and it helps show their heart a little bit better. Or if you're looking for like a hole in the heart wall, you do like a bubble study. So a nurse will typically come in there and push bubbles, and you can see the bubbles entering the right side of the heart. And if it goes into the left side of the heart, then that means they have a hole in their wall. So, I mean, it really is a lot. You have to know, you really have to know what you're looking at. You have to know what's normal and what's abnormal. That way you know what to do for an exam. Because if you just done a whole echo and the cardiologist comes back and says, oh, well, something right there doesn't look right, and he orders like a bubble study, then you're kind of just like, well, crap, I missed that. And now they're going to have to go through this all over again, It's a lot.
You work closely with the cardiologist and the radiologists. Is it usually a cardiologist that reads it, or do the radiologists read it?
Yeah, it's a cardiologist that reads it. Really the only time I feel like I've seen a cardiologist anyways is if you're doing a TE, a transesophageal. All we really do then is the patient comes in under anesthesia, they're conscious. So they'll swallow the probe, it goes down their throat to get closer to the heart. The cardiologist holds the probe and moves it around and does all he has to do, and he tells you when to take an image, like when to put color, all that stuff. So that's when you're working closely beside the cardiologist, because he's basically telling you when to take the image.
Yeah.
He's doing all the finicky stuff with the probe. I mean, sometimes you'll see them if you're doing like a stress echo. So like if they're on the treadmill, or some old school cardiologists still like to use the bicycle. So you'll be pedaling a bicycle while you're laying down. So that's fun. Yeah, everybody's always like laying down pedaling a bike. What? But the bike is super cool because they're laying on the bed for you, and you can still scan them while they're pedaling the bike. So you're able to see how their heart is functioning while they're exercising. Whereas on the treadmill, you have to wait until they're done, and then they rush back over to the bed, and then you get your images.
And then you scan them. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yes.
We have a room next to our ultrasound office that has a treadmill in there. So I'm sure that's what they do in there.
Yes.
That's really cool. I actually had no idea about that. Yes. Is there anything else that you want to share with anyone about all this stuff before we go into questions?
Can't think of anything right now. Something pops up, I'll share.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing everything. That's so amazing. I wish you like nothing but luck and great patience.
Thank you.
And good shifts and good people and stuff like that.
Yes, thank you.
You're gonna learn so much. You're gonna learn so much.
I'm excited.
Alrighty, so let's go into these questions. Now, these questions are questions from everyone from the Discord, and they are so curious about you, Echo Techs.
Yeah.
So the first question was, what inspired you to specialize in echo sonography? I know you touched on it a little bit, but
Yeah. So also my grandpa, before he passed away, also had a little bit of heart problems. I don't know too much just because, other family members, when they're not in a medical field, they don't understand the whole medical talk. So I just know he had like some stents put into his heart that just kind of, helps with the blood flow a little bit more. But I guess since I wanted to like understand more of it, and besides going to the info session with the instructor, I feel like it just really intrigued me to know, because the heart is a major organ in your body and it really does so much that you don't even think about. So I feel like it's just intriguing when you think about looking at a heart on the screen. That's just so cool to me.
yeah, it's so cool. I love it. I mean, have no idea what I'm looking at, but I love watching them. And then when you guys put the color on, I'm like, is that normal?
We get that a lot.
But, like, we have clean color, and then your guys is
Yeah,
like
it's
crazy.
everything.
Yeah, everything lights up. I'm like, oh, what is that? And then someone said, what can I expect when learning to scan the heart? I don't know, that general question. What do you think?
Yeah, so I feel like the biggest thing is kind of like what I touched on earlier. Nobody's heart is the same. So like, yeah, when you start scanning at the school, you have like a general idea of like where to put the probe and how to twist it and make all these fine movements. But you really do not have like a good understanding of like what all it entails until you go into like a clinic site. My teacher always told us never use the word always in the medical field, because it's not going to be the same thing for every patient.
Right.
So just because, something, you had to do something for one patient, you might not have to do that for another patient.
True.
So, I mean, everybody's going to be different. Everybody's heart is positioned differently, as weird as that sounds. And never get too hard on yourself. Like, there are going to be people who have difficult images to get, and that has nothing to do with you. That's just a body habitus. So how their body is positioned. And I mean, I think that's just the biggest thing, is don't get too hard on yourself, because everybody's going to be different.
Awesome. That's a good response.
Thank you.
Love that answer. What are common reasons scans of the heart ordered? So, like, why do they order echoes? Like, why do you do this?
This is a good question. I actually have a list.
Woo,
I was prepared for this question. So like it can be things that you would think. So like a stroke, chest pain, shortness of breath, a heart attack, like palpitations, like if your heart's beating abnormally. If you have an infection anywhere in the body, you're gonna get an echo. If you have if your patient has a swollen leg, you're going to get an echo, because they're going to wonder why the leg is swollen. Chemo patients. So chemo patients, they'll get like a baseline echo before they start chemo, because during their treatment, the doctors are going to want to see if it's affecting their heart. They'll get like a baseline echo, and then I think it's every 6 months roughly, just depending on the cardiologist, they'll send you back in for another echo, and so on and so forth, just to make sure that your heart is like still doing what it's supposed to be doing. Pre-surgery patients, if a patient has a heart attack, or if the doctor suspects congestive heart failure. So whenever you're doing that, you're going to want to see how the heart is like pumping, how the walls are moving, if there's any wall abnormalities. If you have like a heart murmur. So if you go to a doctor just for a regular checkup, and they listen to your heart with a stethoscope, if they hear a heart murmur, they're going to send you in for echo. So I mean, leaky valves are very common. It sounds really scary, but they're actually very common. It's just according to what type of like valve it is. So really just anything like that. There's so many things.
You would never expect. Tons of
Yes. I done an echo like a couple of months ago. A guy had went into the ER because he had just became blind in one eye. So they ordered him an echo to see if anything heart related had caused him to go blind. So like, you don't think about stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool. That's cardiologists doing their job. Good job.
Yes.
Well, I know you touched up on this a little bit earlier. You said you did TEEs. So they asked, what type of scans do you do for the heart? Are there different ones? So I'm assuming they're just saying like, okay, do you only just do like the heart in one type of scan, or is it the same protocol every single time? Like, what kind of like exams, I guess, do you really do as an echo tech?
Yeah, so typically you have like the one protocol that you'll have as like a basis. And then if you see if something is wrong with like a specific valve, you'll take more images zoomed images, more color, Doppler, just to see what's going on with the valve. Like the TE, that is a way to just get closer at the heart to see what's going on. I mean, yeah, that's really, and like the stress echoes. So yeah, the regular echoes, and then you just modify it based on what you see for the echo. Because sometimes if you do an echo on a patient, you might find something, and then they need to have a TE done. So what you see on the echo determines what else gets done.
Okay. So then
Yeah.
typically when they order an echo, it's just like a basic echo, and then they go from there if they need any other
Yep.
type of tests. So,
Yep.
so that kind of leads into this question, which is what procedures does an echo tech assist, assist the doctors with their setup? So would you say just the TEE and the stress test, the treadmill
Yep.
test, like is that the only other two? Are there more?
Those are the only two that I can think of. And usually even with like the stress echoes, the cardiologist might not be in there, like his PA might be in there. They just, make sure the patient is doing okay, just observe them the whole time they're exercising. But yeah, pretty much the closest one is like the TEE, because then he's moving the probe because it's inside of the patient and you're pressing the buttons on the machine whenever he tells you, hey, I need a picture of that, get that real quick.
Oh, okay. Cool. I had no idea. So how long did it take you to feel confident in scanning the heart?
Listen, there's days that I still don't feel confident. I know that's gonna come with just like experience. I mean, I do feel a whole lot better than when I first started. I like try to portray myself as confident, because if you go into a patient's room and they see that like you're shaking and like you don't know what you're doing, they're not gonna want you to do the echo on them. So I mean, I feel pretty confident for the most part, but I'm still a new grad, so I know the longer I'm out there in the world, it's just going to come a whole lot easier to me. I've asked like previous students how long it took for them to be confident in their like scanning abilities, and I get various answers. I get a couple months, I get a year. Like, I think it really just depends on you, and like maybe I think leadership has a big role to play with that too. Like if your leadership like commends you for like a job well done,
Then you'll feel,
So
oh yeah, I did do a good job.
yes, yay me.
Yeah, that definitely comes with time, and definitely confidence comes as get more experience. You are fresh new grad, and look at you now though. You know so much more than you did before. And so someone asked you, echo techs work solely in hospital settings?
No. So if there's a cardiologist office, you can have echo techs there. So like how I was saying, also, the new job I have is like an umbrella kind of underneath the hospital. It's still kind of like a doctor's office. You can also do traveling. I know you can do like traveling general ultrasound and everything too. So same way with echo. Usually you can't do that until maybe like a year or two after graduating, just because they want you to have like more time in a hospital setting underneath your belt. But traveling seems like a lot of fun. You sound like a 13-week contract for somewhere, and then go there, and then like, hey, I want to go to this state across the United States of America, and then you get to go there.
It'd be so fun. Is it hard to get a job after graduating?
I think it really just depends on the area you're in. So if there are a lot of schools in the area you're trying to go to, obviously the jobs are going to be very limited. But Ogeechee Tech, where I graduated from, actually has a 100% job placement since 2018.
Woo!
So, I mean, like I said earlier, you can pretty much go anywhere you want to. Just be open to moving. That's what my instructor was like drilling into our minds. Be open to going to new places, because you can really get a job anywhere. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if someone has more experience than you, it might, hurt you a little bit. But usually people get pretty excited about having new grads, because they get to mold you into being a good echo tech,
Some people want people who are like, I want to learn, like, give me everything you know, because then you have people with experience who kind of just like, I'm not saying they think they know everything, but it's like they've been in the field for a while now. So it's like if there's a certain way that this place wants it to be, and they can like butt heads with someone who's experienced, and then, new grads are usually like super excited to work. They want to work. They want those
and do whatever. Let me do whatever.
Yeah,
Sign me up. Give me all the exams. Let me do everything.
Exactly why I tell everyone it's like passion, like network, like show them how much you want it, because they really will hire you.
Yeah, for sure. And you gotta like be persistent with calling people. Like that's super awkward. I don't like calling people, like asking for jobs. But they actually really like whenever you do that, whenever you reach out, even if you think that you're bugging them, like you just called them a week ago, they like when you keep reaching out to them. So I think that helps a lot too.
Oh yeah, I say be annoying. They
Same.
know that you're there. They know you're there, and they know you want it.
Yes.
And then, so what barriers are there to getting quality scans of the heart? I know you touched on it a little bit, saying like body habitus.
Yeah.
But are there any other, like, is there like bone in the way, or like, I don't know.
Yeah. So overweight patients can be a struggle. And actually, like really skinny patients can be a struggle. So like certain places on the body you got to go to get an image, you might have to be balancing on a rib, and you have to get in between the ribs to be able to get to the heart. So I mean, there is like no easy thing, you know. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, everybody is different. So if someone big chested, you got to be able to
In there.
get in there. You can't be shy. So, and I mean, you have those people who are really like, ow, you're hurting me. And I'm like, I've got to get there. Just bear with me for a few minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's all about body habit. It's just in general.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So does being an echo tech become repetitive as you're only scanning the heart? This is a lot of people's questions. When they're trying to choose, they're like, well, I feel like echo is just the heart, so it's going to be boring because it's the heart only, you know? So what do you have to say?
Okay, so my favorite question. So it is not boring at all scanning the heart. Those who don't know, like echo, like our images obviously move because the heart is pumping constantly. So your images are moving. Like I continuously said, everybody's hearts lay differently. So just because you went in and had an easy scan with a perfect patient, what very rarely happens. I mean, everybody's hearts are different. So, I mean, you're constantly trying to have to figure out how to get a good image because you're the eyes for the doctor. So you have to be able to have a good quality image. That way they can see if there's anything going on with the heart. Since the heart is continuously moving, you're having to look at how the valves move, how the walls are moving, if there's any wall abnormalities. I mean, everything is just constantly changing in the heart every second. So it's not just, oh, you get this image, click, twist, next image. Like you have to pay attention to every single thing on the screen because nobody's hearts are the same at all. And if you miss one thing on that echo, that could potentially be bad for the patient. So, I mean, you really just have to keen into everything. So, I mean, I feel like it makes it harder because the images are constantly moving. If you twist the probe a certain way, and say if there's like a blood clot in the heart right there, if you twist the probe a certain way, the blood clot might look like it disappears, but it really didn't. It's just, you know, how you're holding the probe. So you really have to maneuver around. Even if it looks like a good normal image, you kind of have to finesse it a little bit sometimes just to see if there's anything like hiding. Right. So I mean, it's the farthest thing. It's the farthest thing from boring. It's the farthest thing from boring. It sounds boring. I get it. Yes, it's just the heart. Like I was saying earlier, we weren't allowed to go to clinic the entire first semester just because you have so much to learn with the heart. I mean, you just really don't think about all the heart does for your body. Like it's amazing.
That's a very good answer.
Thank you.
Everyone to hear that answer because it is not boring. It's not repetitive.
No.
The heart is amazing. And you know what? I feel the same though about like OB. OB is very hard because it's a little target. It's like a moving baby. You gotta get at the angle. Like, so I totally understand what you mean about that. It's like, you gotta get
the
it.
Angle is everything.
Yep. Because you can be like here or you can be like here and it'll look different at different ways. So yeah, I totally. So last two questions. What would you have done different while in school, knowing what you know now?
I feel like I probably would have been a little bit more confident, like, and you know, confident and just taking everything like a lot more slowly, like because it is a very fast-paced program. You learn a lot, so I feel like I got really hard on myself a lot. Which is why at times the first semester in the program, I was thinking, hey, maybe this isn't for me. Like, this is really hard. But it all eventually comes together. It's like a puzzle, you know? First semester, you're like, I don't know what any of these words mean. I don't know anything right now. And then by the end of the program, you're like, wow, I really didn't know what that was back then. Girl, I had never felt so dumb until I started the echo program.
My goodness. No, you're probably like way smart before. Now you're like 10 times. I mean, you're like way smarter than me. I know nothing about the heart. Come on
I
now.
know nothing about what you do, ma'am.
But it's just like it's a lot. I know how much these programs put in
Mhm.
information, and honestly, like for anyone to like take all this information and like you have to kind of like step back and be like, okay, this is what I need to do. I can get through it. Like just kind of be more confident about
Yeah.
it. It's hard to find that, and I love that you had your other classmates with you to help you.
Yeah, and our teacher was very hard on us, and she always told us, like from the beginning, that we would eventually see why she was so hard on us, because you're thrown into a hospital with cardiologists, and the cardiologists don't care if they hurt your feelings a lot of the time. They need to do their job just like you need to do your job. So, I mean, I really feel like her being hard on us, yes, it sucked at the time, but I mean, it really helps in the end.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because she wasn't doing it to be cruel or hateful. She was doing it because she cared about us. Like she loves the field so much. She just wanted to produce good echo techs.
Yeah.
So
And
I
look at
loved
you guys now. Oh, so
it.
you're be so happy.
Yeah.
So, any tips for anyone who want to do echo? Any last final words? Please help them all.
I suggest echo because I just love it. I may be partial to it, but I feel like for the first time, I mean, I'm only 26 years old,
You're
but
young.
I'm still a baby. But I feel like I worked at AT&T so long that I never liked going to work. I dreaded getting up and going to work in the morning. Whereas in this field, I genuinely love getting up in the mornings. Like I'm so excited to go to work. It's driving me crazy being at the house right now because I'm so ready to get to work. If you want a career that is like always changing, because I mean, we're very grateful to be in a field where you can constantly learn. I mean, there's going to be new stuff coming out all the time. So
Mhm.
if you love learning and if you love just experiencing new things and you get to meet so many people, I mean, as we can see from Discord, you meet everybody from all over. So I would say just get out there and experience as much as you can, make all the friends, because I mean, you never know when you could run back into somebody one day. You might end up getting a job across the United States, and you might have met somebody online and you meet up with them.
Right.
So I would say just also give it your all. Like, yes, studying sucks, but it pays off in the end. And
Mhm.
you'll feel a lot more confident whenever you are sitting down doing your first report at your first job and you actually know what to put on the report. So, yeah, I feel like just give it your all, and it's so much fun.
Yes. Yay. I love that. Thank you so much for answering all those
Of
questions.
course.
You're going to love this video. You're going to love it so much.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Happy that you're available, and I'm just so excited for you to see you grow and see you help so many other people in the Discord and in life in general. You're gonna make your school and mentors so proud. And do you want to like tell everyone your Instagram or your social medias or anything like that?
Yes, so you can find me on Facebook, Taylor Downs. I changed my Instagram username, so let me look at it real quick. I kind of played it off of my husband's username, as cheesy as that sounds.
Yeah.
So my Instagram is Taylor.Downsy, but it's spelled DOVVNESY. So feel free to add me on there. It said it's private, but feel free to
Yeah.
add me on there. I welcome everybody from wherever, because I love talking about echo. So nobody be afraid to message me. I think I'm really friendly.
You are very friendly. Oh my gosh. I'll put her information in the description box below, of course. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. I don't
Thank
think this
you.
will be the last time we see you. Maybe we'll do like some updated video or something in the
Yes.
future. And then you can tell us more about your new job and everything. Life in Alaska.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to
You
go
see
up
all
there.
the snow back here?
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. I just
Wild.
feel like roll around in it. I don't know how you're not out there right now because
No, it's cold.
I know, right? Cool. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so
Thank you for having me.
much. And as always, you guys, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the
Yes.
channel for more videos. And we'll always see you in the next one. Bye, guys.